ask something that makes sense. I'm gonna ask you a question, and you can either say, you can either answer it if you know the information, or you can make up an answer. That's what most people on Clubhouse do. Or you can simply say, I don't know, which is probably the smartest thing to do. Hold on, hey, hold on. I'm gonna ask you a question. This is not gonna bode well for you. So he left. He left.
Damn it, I had two major questions, Roger. Stop scaring people away.
So the reason he left was because he was gonna be asked a question. These retards, they don't like to be asked a question, but I'll answer my own question here, just so you guys can understand this. This is why people like him are just fucking retarded. 46% of federal income tax revenue comes from the top 1% earners in the country. So let me repeat that. 46% of all of the federal income tax that's collected comes from the top 1%. Okay? So this myth that the top income earners don't contribute, the 1% are contributing 46%. If we expand that to the top 5%, it equates to 59% of the overall income tax dollars collected. If we expand it to the top 10%, it accounts for 70% of income tax dollars federally collected. So let's just do the math here. This means that 10 out of 100 people are funding 70% of the federal budget. So again, I've given this example before. Let's just say 10 people went to dinner. This would be the equivalent of one person raising their hand and saying, hey, this would be the 10%, right? 1 out of the 10 would say, hey, I will pick up 70% of the dinner tab for all 10 of us. And the rest of you, the 9 of you, you only have to pay for the 30% that's left over. And yet you have people like Water that want to come on these stages and say that the high income earners are not paying their fair share. It's quite literally the opposite. In fact, you have large percentages of this country that don't contribute at all. They don't contribute a fucking dime. They are a drain on the fucking system. Not a bigger drain on the system than printing money and running us into debt, but they are a fucking drain on the system. Not as big of a drain as the Fed, but they are a drain on the system. So I wish you would get people that would come up here and have an honest conversation about this, but it's hard to do because once you start throwing facts and figures, the people that advocate for these stupid ass ideas, they crumble.
Roger, this was never more apparent to me as I moved to the Miami area. The client has the neighbor, their house. They pay over $200,000 a year in taxes. They had never seen them. They have a staff maintaining it. They're inputting into an area that they might use once every 2 or 3 years. They're paying into a school system that they don't utilize. We have people who have 3 to 4 properties in one, and I'm talking multi-million-dollar condos in one building, and then they've got them in other buildings. And to say they're not paying their fair share, they're paying more in one house in property taxes that they don't live in than most people will pay in a lifetime.
Yes. Corey, let me ask you this. If you were at that dinner of 10 people, and let's say the top income earner picked up 70% of the bill, and you were one of the 9 that had to pick up the 30%, what would you say to the person that paid the 70%? Because what progressives would say is, hey, you got all the money, you should pay for the whole thing. That's what they would say. But what would you say to the person that at a 10-person dinner picked up 70% of the
Me, even though I'm not in his category, I would say, let me pay for a little more than that. I'm sorry, but I would.
No.
Thank you is the no.
Those were the 2 words you were looking for. You would simply say thank you. Because the fact is that the majority of Americans have the comfort in their lives that they do because of people that are wealthier than them.
You know, it's like you're saying, when you look at the people, the top taxpayers, they always want to complain about big oil. Well, they don't pay an equal percentage. No, they don't. But if you look at the amount that they pay, their profit is, they make